Hi, everybody. This is Tiara International, and we are here doing our Friday Facebook Live. And today we're talking about something that really is, I would say, foundational and at the heart of the work we have always done, not only with clients, but with ourselves. So, we've been doing what we would call growth and development, change management, organization development for decades now in many shapes and forms. And at the heart of it, we're really passionate that part of our work is clearing out any kind of like mindset, belief system, point of view, or paradigm that actually may be getting in the way of either an individual or a business goal that somebody has. We have studied the neuroscience behind it. We have engaged with different speakers and different experts along the way. And at the end of the day, we really still think one of the keys to unlocking what we all desire is changing our minds in order to really go for the goal. So with me today, I'm Betsy Sobiak, if you don't know who I am, and we have Peg Rowe. Say hello, Peg.
Hello.
Hi. And Beth Rusky.
Hi there.
Beth. And Andrea Henning.
I'm here. Hello.
Good to see you, Andrea. Okay, awesome. So we are also talking about this because we have coming up a 15 Days to Wow program, which is a virtual program where for 15 minutes a day, you can actually practice methodically one of our best practice next Wednesday. We're specifically going to be practicing how changing your mind can change your life. Now, Beth, I know you've done some of the more detailed prep this week for next week as far as researching our wow factors, pulling together our best practices. So how would you start us off? What's the main wow factor that you feel like is the most important that you'd want to share with everybody today?
I think one of the most important things to start with is to recognize how incredibly powerful our mind really is. And I'm not a neuroscientist. No one on this call is in this video.
True.
But as Betsy said, we've done the research. We've talked to experts. We've brought in experts. We've worked with this for a lot of years. And the mind is something, Rick Hansen is one of the experts in this area. He talks about the Buddha brain, and not the big B as in the Buddha. He's talking about the Buddha brain as in a Buddha brain that is constantly growing, learning, and changing. And that's what the primary belief is in neuroscience, is that the brain is constantly growing. It might only represent 3% of our body weight, but it is one of the most important organs. The other thing I'll share is that we collapse mind and brain. Like, that's my mind. That's my brain. I can't turn my brain off. Mm-hmm. The way the body functions best is when the brain controls the mind and not the mind controlling the brain. The brain is the organ that sends all the signals to everywhere in our body and controls all the mechanics of what we're doing. So we want the brain controlling our thoughts more than our thoughts controlling our brain. The other very cool thing is that, as we say, it can change over time. The more we get stuck in a pattern, our brain actually, there's gray matter, and it's malleable. I guess that's what I would say. It's malleable. And so as it can change, it is influenced by our experiences and our perceptions. And the more that we think negatively, the more that we are rooted in seeing the world that way. We just become conditioned, and it's habitual. And you can, take mindfulness and the practice of being mindful in meditation. Studies show that when people actually practice mindfulness for 30 minutes or more a day, they actually are changing the gray matter in their brain and changing all the way the neurons are connected. Now, that is about as unscientific as I can be in describing this. But I think the point is to get that what excites me is that it's in our control. So even when things feel completely out of our control, we actually do have the capacity individually to change how not only we're perceiving and our experiences, but change our future as well. And that just thrills me about this dialogue.
And I do think that we have the experience that this is one of the components of our work that may seem miraculous at some point, sometimes, because a lot of what we believe, the mindsets that are running the show, we've had for a long time, and we might not even really be aware of them because they're so embedded in our thinking. And again, the mindset itself, it's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's something we believe based on experience or something we read or a reaction we had at a point in time. And then when we adopt it, it might even serve us for a while. Yet it's when the mindsets and belief systems we have actually are in conflict with what we say we want next in life, and we feel stuck and we feel like a crazy person because we say we want X and we keep getting Y no matter what we do or how hard we try. Whenever we have a loop like that, where it's like, I really feel like in my heart, I want this, but for some reason I keep hitting some stumbling blocks that I can't really identify, that's when looking at like, well, what are the mindsets and the paradigms and the beliefs and the points of view you might hold that are actually getting in the way or in conflict? Because one of the things we like to say is that that once the brain, and I hope I'm using brain and mind right, I may not be, like once the brain has something that it believes to be true, or the mind, it will then lead to doing certain things and not doing certain things. Like, for example, I live in Chicago. So someone who doesn't live in Chicago and just gets messages about Chicago from the news, they may develop a mindset about Chicago either being unsafe or being expensive or being crowded or being something. I live in Chicago, and I think it's a lovely place. It's easy to get around and has a lot of opportunity. And a lot of people I love live here, so it's a different way of seeing it. But if I had a belief system about Chicago that was more of like a challenge, then I might either not come here, or when I do come here, I might have a certain set of experiences or something like that. So what we believe about something, a point of view, will have us do and not do certain things. And then the results we get, we typically use to prove the belief system we already have as right or valid. So it's like, oh, see, it is an expensive city, or oh, see, that did feel scary, or oh, see, the traffic is horrible. Like, we use it to, and then if we have a contradictory experience, like say it goes really smoothly, or we use a Groupon and it's super cheap or whatever, then we say that's an anomaly. We're like, well, that's just a fluke. It really still is XYZ. So these beliefs are so powerful and so behind the scenes that they actually do kind of like roll out the red carpet for like, here's what you will do and you won't do, here's what you will observe and you won't observe, and here's what you consider a valid result or not, all to keep this particular loop in place. So, real quickly, for those of you just joining, first of all, thank you for any of you watching live, watching the recording. We're Tiara International, and we do leadership development in lots of forms. You can always like our Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube to get these Friday features in your stream. And today we're talking about how changing your mind can actually change your life. So Peg, how about you? What's your experience of either for yourself or using this with clients that you'd like to share?
It's interesting because I think one of the things in starting to do this work and the awareness of this work a few years ago, it's like once you become aware that your mindset actually and your beliefs and your paradigms are present all the time, every day, it's like I found myself catching myself all the time, like, oh, that's just a belief. Oh, that's just a belief. Like, I would say statements or things that occurred for me as fact, and in fact, they were simply a belief. And to your point, Betsy, I think we all look for proof. Like, we scan our environment to look for proof that supports the belief that we have. So I find often that when I'm working with clients, they'll start talking about something and you'll recognize immediately, oh, that's a long-held belief that person has. And we really need to dismantle that. We really need to take on, how is that belief getting you the results that you want? What would you do differently? So I think for me, it's become much more of an everyday experience of those beliefs are around me and in everybody else all of the time. I think one of the ones for me that was long held, because it was part of my upbringing, was that idea of you need to work hard. You need to work hard to do a good job, and that's going to make you successful. And so in really taking that apart and recognizing that, yes, you're going to put effort into things, but everything doesn't have to be hard work. Like it doesn't have to be hard. It could actually be something that you could enjoy doing, and that there's a way that you can commit yourself to things without having it sort of carry the mantle of, oh my gosh, this is really hard. And I would say for me, that's such a long held belief and so embedded in my system that I still find myself falling into that trap. So it's not like, oh, once we recognize it, poof, away it goes. It's like some of those that are long held, we have to keep reminding ourselves like, oh yeah, that's a belief again. I really need to challenge myself about that and see if that's what I'm thinking. But I do beliefs work, I feel like, with clients all the time, not because we're intending. I don't show up the call going like, okay, today's the day we're going to do that. It's like something will come up and it's like, okay, stop, let's pause and just really consider whether this thing that you're talking about is the truth as you're seeing it, or whether it might actually be a belief and there might be something different available.
Yeah, and I've had both experiences. I've had the experience where sometimes you see a belief and just seeing it really can disappear. Like it's like, oh, I just saw that I had a belief about, I don't know, maybe it's like I'm irresponsible with money or something like that. And then it's like, wait a minute, but look at all the things that have happened around home ownership, or how I take care of my car, or having had my own business now for 16 years. It's like, oh, that thing is just so not true. And I've been operating like it's true since I was 12. And, made a mistake with my watch that whatever the thing was, right? Like there's a thing that happened when you're like a kid and you get labeled like I'm irresponsible with money. And then all of a sudden it's like you have to just see it and then it just disappears like a poof. Or like you said, I've also had the experience where it feels like there are some that are just kind of in my system. They're a particular theme I have to work over time, and you're just always unveiling the next layer. And Andrea, I know, like even in the core work that you specifically do, you do that amazing work called the Yodam, which really reveals people's systems and their themes as far as their life journey. And belief work is part of that too. Like, don't you reveal in that process some of their
Absolutely
long-standing beliefs?
Yeah, because when you go to the bottom of any belief, there's fear underneath, and that's actually what the body of work that I'm doing, that you are referring to, is about. That there is this one core fear connected to your one core theme, and it's very interesting that it's really only one that says it all, and it's really the mother of all of all limiting beliefs,
the mother of all
fears. Exactly. Yeah. So to have that, actually, there's everything. Every time when I look at my own belief structure, sooner or later, when I dig deep enough, it's like, oh, it's coming from that. So it's like, the mothership, so to say. Huh? And it's good to know that actually that we don't make our beliefs right or wrong. It's a belief, and not, sometimes it's not even so interesting where does it come from. We have been spending a lot of time like about how was my mother at the core of that or that. You can do that, but what I really love over time is that there is no right or wrong belief. It's only, you can ask yourself, is it helpful in relationship to something that I want to achieve, or that's something that I would like to change? So a very simple one is, and we do that with every subject that we are addressing, like, what are your thoughts? What are your first thoughts about that theme? For instance, we did that with playfulness and having fun. In leaders, that is important in leadership. Like, what are your first thoughts when we say you should have fun and be playful or lighthearted about it? And then you will see that you have a couple of thoughts that are positive and a couple of thoughts that are negative around that subject. But then, like, wow, is it really true? Even the positives, like, why are they true or not, is not so important. But then, like, would you like to have more fun and be more playful? And if the answer is yes, which is not a done deal, by the way, it can be no also, but if it's yes, like, okay, so is it helpful, yes or no? So it becomes really relative to the subject. And one of the things that I really find interesting is that a belief that can be totally supportive for one person can be totally not supportive for the other. We talk about gratitude, for instance. Gratitude, being grateful and having a gratitude journal is not good for my system, because what I needed to learn was more to be angry and to not be okay with things. And having this gratitude journal was more like a lullaby and kept me in not expanding. And that's really fascinating. I love this kind of work.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Andrea. There's a couple things that, the thing you point about, the question that we really do have to ask ourselves and others when we're talking about a belief, or even a behavior is this moving you closer to what you say you want? Or is it moving you away from your goal or what you say you want? That's just one of those calm questions that get people to stop and think, and then they get to choose. Because if you think about it, a belief, if we really do get that we're choosing our beliefs, we're empowering ourselves. And if we think we can't, and we're stuck in that loop that Betsy was describing earlier, then we're victims. We're at the mercy of whatever's going to be thrown our way.
Absolutely.
So that's a very powerful thing. The other point I want to make before we jump into something else is that there's lots of studies about how many thoughts people have on a day. The latest numbers I've seen is over 40,000 thoughts in a day. And the amount of brain snapping that's going on is insane on so many levels. And, not all of those thoughts are positive. They're not. But what's interesting is that when we have a negative thought, like Betsy said before, when we have a negative thought, it's like Velcro that sticks to us. When we have a positive thought, it tends to be like Teflon. So get the visual, like it just kind of flows right off us. Oh, weren't we lucky, right? As opposed to being intentional about it. And that's also a wiring and a belief system that is running behind the scenes. Exactly. It's like the operating system behind the scenes. We're not aware of it. And really putting the spotlight on that is what we want to, really encourage people to do, is get out of that repetitive rote, whether victim or whatever you're believing, and actually realize there's choice and be intentional about where you want to take it.
Right. So awareness is a big thing that we'll be practicing on our 15 days to wow. And one of the ways we do it is that we have everyone bring an area that they want to explore. So it's an area where they want to take something to the next level, or maybe they feel particularly stuck, and you bring that, so you have something, a context that you're interested in and you really want to explore. And then every day of the 15 days, we'll have a daily wow factor that really reveals how we can use the power of the mind to go toward what we desire, as opposed to possibly keeping us stuck from it. So what might be interesting now to do is for each of us to share either the area that we're bringing, so that we can kind of prime the pump for ourselves, or even something that, an experience we've had in the past where doing this kind of work has actually shifted us in an area. I know for myself, I feel like I just have the area, because I was kind of going back and forth between a few, and they weren't feeling right. They were feeling more like things I should take a look at or something like that. And that's another thing that we really practice, especially in this area of empowering beliefs, is that the way you know that you have opened up a new level of empowering belief is you usually feel some sort of positive feeling, like a sense of relief or momentum or creativity. And that means like, oh, I just like let go of a thing and I opened up a thing so that I can move, there can be some movement. So even to Andrea's point before, like someone could have a empowering belief that is like, I can do anything. And for them, it might feel like very forward moving, and someone else might feel totally overwhelmed and exhausted by that belief. So only you can tell, like, this is the area that's perfect for me. This is the new belief that feels like an opening. So for me, the area that I'm going to look at is time. Okay. So I am taking on like a project where I'm going to be more scheduled than I have been for a while. And I'm really excited about the project. I'm also really excited about the projects I'm managing for our business. And I'm also really excited about staying connected to family and friends, my colleagues, business partners, etc. I'm going to be on the road more than I've ever been, I think, for the next 6 months. And I really want to proactively be on top of my mindsets about time, about busyness, about putting myself in the mix and making sure that I feel good and present and centered and don't like tip over into any old patterns I might have around even being busy or being something. I don't really know, but I just feel so excited about, you know what, I'm going to use these 15 days to make sure that like I, from a belief perspective, have set myself up to have a really fantastic 6 months, and that I don't backslide into weird time, busyness, martyry conversations that won't be good for me or anybody.
Yeah, great. Lovely, lovely. Yeah. I can share the very first time that we did that. I took as a 15-minute practice, I took meditation on. And I know that my focus area then was like, I want to enjoy more, which is pretty funny because I think for this one, I have the same thing. So I had this focus, like I want to enjoy my life more. And I want to enjoy the things that I have. And I took on this 15-minute practice, and I was there, and it was lovely. Like with the 15-minute practice, it's like whenever you are busy or not busy, you make it work, or you try to make it work. So sometimes it was very early in the morning, and I was sitting outside, and there was this moment. First of all, it was like I was freaking out, like sitting still for 15 minutes. Then there came a moment that I actually thought, oh, this is really lovely, and I enjoyed it. I mean, maybe for a couple of seconds, and my mind was thinking, maybe I should do 20 minutes. And that was when really, really all bells were ringing. Oh my God, this is what I do. As soon as I start to enjoy something, I raise the bar. And I was flabbergasted. I was mind struck. So then what happened was, actually by this whole process, I detected a behavior of raising the bar that was grounded in a very limiting belief about needing to grow all the time. There's more. I need to explore more. That totally kept me from enjoying. So this is also what happens by having these little pieces, like the 15 minutes, and observing yourself with this awareness. You can have this landslide of seeing what you have doing all your life. So that was huge. I know that this was huge.
That's a great one to see, and to have the awareness to see that you have a belief system around, I should push it, I should grow, I should do more, I should take it to the next level, and to just see like, oh my gosh, that doesn't have to be true. I can just be, this can be enough. Like, how awesome.
Exactly.
Great.
Yes. Yeah.
Pat, how about you?
Come off of mute. Yeah, so I've been kind of in the inquiry around this for the week, and it's kind of evolved. So I just got back from vacation. So there was initially a thing about maintaining sort of a vacation mindset. And then there was a piece around feeling like a fresh start and doing something sort of like new and different. And then there was a piece from me about slowing down and just being more at peace. And then I think where I got to was a very old belief that I have that comes from my childhood, which was you can't go out and play until you get your homework done. And so I know that actually drives a lot of what I do. It's like I work, and it's not like I don't take time to do things I enjoy, but there is a place for me that work takes priority, and it's not because I mean, I love what I do, so it's not like a chore to do that, but there is something in here that I want to flip around that belief, and and be more intentional about enjoying life and enjoying life outside of the needing to accomplish something for life to feel enjoyable. So I haven't completely, zeroed in on like what's the phrase or the sentence or the whatever that it's going to be, but that's the area that I'm exploring right now.
That's great. Peg, I think mine is similar on some levels, and I've written the words presence and relationships. It's funny because 5 or 6 years ago, the depth of the beliefs I had around my health were so strange. I just, the things I heard myself saying, like, it's just too hard. I'm too busy. It's too hard for me to take care of, to do things consistently, or to eat right, or to exercise, or I'm on the road, or I'm this. I don't know how to cook. I'm not a cook. All these different, beliefs and sayings that I had. And we actually took on, and it was one of those magical things, but it didn't happen immediately. But the shift that occurred, we took on a 30-day cleanse. Actually, Betsy and I, took it on. And I didn't even know what some of these vegetables were. I mean, I had to go through Whole Foods and have a personal shopper with me. What's jicama? Where do I find nutmeg? I mean, like, really crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And, and I realized that I was not on a diet. I was not losing weight. But the shift for me mentally was, I need to take care of myself. And that big belief was like, nobody's making dinner for me. I got to make dinner for me. I got to take care of myself in a way that works. Yes, I'm very busy, and I need to find a way to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And it's great. I mean, now 6-7 years later, yes, I've lost weight. I do feel healthy, and I do know what to do for myself. And I don't feel I'm the victim of my circumstances anymore. So I want to bring that same excitement into something else that I'm recognizing that's a pattern of behavior for myself. And it's around relationships. It's like I get frustrated if relationships don't progress, or there's not action in them, So, it's about being present in a relationship. And we were on a call a little earlier, and one of the things I'm taking on to actually shift, that I'm declaring, is my transitions from one topic to another, and to really just slow myself down, because I'm seeing in some of the people that I love most in the world that when I think they're done and I'm starting in with my next, they are so disheartened. They just thought I didn't even hear them and I'm disrespecting them. And that is not the outcome or the result I want. And this is going to require me to really change my brain and change my mind so that I can change, the impact that I'm having and I want to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so change your mind, change your life. This is something it's been at the heart of the work we do with our individual clients and our teams and our companies for a very long time. And the 15 days is going to break it down really simply. So 15 days, 15 wow factors, something you can practice in 15 minutes or less. There will be a link below where you can register for the next one we have coming up. And we hope you join us, because we really do believe that on the other side of this, in the area that we each choose, there is something beyond what we even know to expect waiting for us, because everything we currently know to expect is within our current way of thinking. And by the end of the 15 days, we'll have some new way of thinking that we don't even really know right now. And when that happens, it's transformational. So we do hope you join us. $15, 15 days, 15 minutes a day. And like I said, we at Tiara International do this every Friday. So if you want a new video, either in your Facebook stream, you can like our Tiara Facebook page, or if you are a YouTube person, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and they're posted the following week on Tuesdays. Anything else, guys, that you would want to say?
I will
Looking
end
forward
with
to it.
this. Research also shows that you will not change your behavior. Pause, pregnant pause, unless you make room for what you're trying to change to.
Mhm.
So that's an important part. So making room, and that's what these 15 days are for, to make room for what you're trying to actually bring into your life.
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all for
Thank
your
you.
time today.
Bye.
Looking forward to it. Bye.
Bye bye.